Although the title of this slide is Homeschooling during the coronavirus pandemic, I'd like to emphasise that homeschooling is a choice that you make and that you plan for. This is an unprecedented emergency situation, not a choice to homeschool. But I'm here to give you some tips on how to encourage your children to learn at home while still enabling you to fulfil your work commitments. Incidentally, at Wolsey Hall, we do have 2,500 active students whose parents have made their choice to homeschool their children. These include elite athletes, performing artists, children of travelling families, and students who do not attend school for emotional reasons. We have facilitated the education of over 1,000 students across the southern regions of Africa. I'd like to show you a brief clip of Zenzele, a student currently studying with us in South Africa, as she expresses her opinion of homeschooling.
Now, personally, the value of homeschooling is ineffable. You develop integral time management skills as well as organizational and study skills, and you're more proactive and active in your community. You're more likely to engage in cross-generational dialogue because you have that opportunity with the less rigid structure. And as someone once said, the best classroom in the world is at the feet of an elderly person. So in connection to that, we are able to understand a lot more and mature in a different way, I suppose. There's also the advantage of not being influenced by societal opinions and views on certain matters. I know it may take a lot more discipline and a lot more motivation, but it's such a positive change that it's really worth it all. If education is a solution to complex issues, then I believe homeschooling should be discussed equally. It's an historic solution to our modern problems and possesses a unique ability to unlock a vast amount of potential with such successful results. And here I'm talking from experience. I hope you can see it for the solution that I see it as, but better yet, I hope you can experience it for yourself, for the richness and the depth that it brings. In the words of our former leader, Nelson Mandela, education is the most powerful weapon you can use to change the world. So why not start here and now? Thank you.
Our students are not all children. In fact, Nelson Mandela studied for his law degree with us while in Robben Island jail. If you'd like to know more, please do check out the website. Now, as I said, the situation that we find ourselves in is from necessity, not choice. Do not try to be a teacher. Your children will always see you as a parent. The most important thing that you can do now is listen to your children and reassure them. You'll be amazed at how you can incorporate learning in everyday activities that will help them settle into this new way of life. Although we are not taking the place of a teacher, it's essential that we provide a positive learning environment. This can be done through routine, time management, and providing a suitable working space. These three things will be different for all of us, but here are some ideas. Go to bed and get up at the same time every day during the school week. This does not have to be the same as before lockdown, but be consistent. I'm actually able to get a substantial amount of work done before our home learning day even starts. Make sure that your children are washed, dressed, and have had breakfast before you begin. How to manage your time and theirs. This could be done through creating a timetable together or using a timer to signify blocks of learning. Make sure downtime is also scheduled. Initially, make learning time short and have realistic, or dare I say it, low expectations of what you will achieve. This is a good time to create a set of school rules that you agree upon. These could include no electronics, unless being used for the task at hand, no talking over each other, and if you're fortunate enough to have your own working space, then how about no children in the staff room? You could even create a do not enter sign together that you are able to put up when it's vital that you're not interrupted, which is what I've done today. So far, so good. Create a suitable working space. This should preferably be quiet, organised and equipped. The space does not have to be fixed and will probably be different for all of us. It may depend on age or number of children, or simply the space that you have available. My boys share a room, and I learned very quickly that leaving the boys together to work independently was not entirely productive. My daughter does have her own workspace, but I found that if we work together on the kitchen table, we both achieve far more. If I have an activity that is suitable for all 3 children, we will work together wherever space will allow. It's important to be flexible and to discover what works best for you and your family. Here's my family's morning routine. Let me emphasise, it is not set in stone. I plan and prioritise for the core subjects, English, maths and science. I follow a routine, but I am flexible and I make sure that the goals are realistic. I mention lots of resources. Please do message me if you would like to find out more about those. I have set the duration of the lessons as 30 minutes. I started with longer lessons and shorter breaks, but have found that my children are far more productive if learning in shorter bursts with longer breaks. I've allowed a 20-minute break between each session for my benefit as well as theirs, and also incorporated a 30-minute break at 11 o'clock. This longer break coincides with that of other lockdown families we know, so that my children can sometimes have a virtual playtime with their friends. But what does that really look like on a daily, day-to-day basis? We do PE with Joe Wicks every morning. This ensures that we are all up and ready to start the day by 9 a.m. We all agree that we feel energised and ready to work after it. Cosmic Kids promotes yoga, mindfulness and relaxation for the younger generation. The interactive adventures build strength, balance and confidence. Oti Mabuse is producing regular live videos that enable children and adults to learn a whole dance routine in under half an hour. She uses well-known films, characters and soundtracks to encourage her viewers, such as Harry Potter, The Greatest Showman, and even the Minions. Although we do PE with Joe first thing in the morning, I tend to incorporate Cosmic Kids and Oti Mabuse's dance later in the day to enable me to get some work done while ensuring that the children are active. Of course, though, you don't need the internet to be active. If you have space, you can run, dance, create obstacle courses, and much more. HIIT, high-intensity interval training, can be done with very little space and will certainly keep both your children and you fit. You may be set work by your child's school teachers. In most cases, the work provided is not compulsory. There may be too little or too much, or it may simply be too complicated. Do what you can. As a parent, we can provide meaningful activities that cover a broad range of subjects. There are some excellent, engaging English tasks out there. The most important thing that your child can do is read. This could be alone or with you. You could ask independent readers to summarise what they have learnt or analyse a character from their book. For younger readers, you could ask them to predict what happens next. For the duration of lockdown, Oxford Owl is providing a free e-library, which is really useful. I've encouraged my children to keep a record of their time during lockdown. This includes both facts and feelings. My daughter is writing a diary, whereas my sons have chosen to document their time in the form of a comic. Writing letters to family and friends is a great way of encouraging handwriting or computer literacy, grammar, punctuation, and of course, staying in contact with those they love. There are many worksheets available on the internet. One site that I particularly like is Twinkle. English with Holly runs daily English lessons on YouTube. Holly covers a variety of topics and is fun to watch. She also provides resources to go with each lesson. For older learners, Cambridge International has opened up the Resource Plus section of its website during the coronavirus, during the outbreak. This includes videos and teachers' packs, which are just as useful for parents. A way of promoting a love of literature is through listening to audiobooks. David Walliams' audio stories are available free on his website and provide me with 20 minutes undisturbed work time. Audible has also released a large number of free books for children to enjoy. Maths can be incorporated into everyday life as well as put into a structured lesson. One of my favourite ways to enjoy maths with my children, when I have the time, is to play board games or card games with them. Almost all of these games will involve counting, sequencing, or handling money. There are many free worksheets available on the internet for all ages. Interactive maths games have been my go-to since the schools closed. Carol Vorderman, who created the Maths Factor website, has offered all of her resources free during UK school closures, which I predict will still be going on for some time. If you have more than one child, they can each have their own domain, which you can view. The resources are age appropriate, include videos, and the questions can be dictated for younger children that are unable to read proficiently. I get daily emails to inform me of the tasks that my children have done and how they have performed. Now is a good time to ensure that your children know their times tables. These can be recited and randomly tested on, reinforced using websites, or made lots of fun using songs on YouTube. Baking or cooking is a great way of spending time with your children while being productive, and can cover aspects of maths, science, English, and art. Science is all around us. A great activity to do with children is to plant seeds and see how they grow differently in different conditions. This is also beneficial at this time because there is a chance we might have a harvest before our time of home education is over. Food webs may be seen in action. Dissecting a flower, gluing it to a piece of paper and labeling the parts is a fun activity. And if you have access to a chicken leg, it's amazing how children can locate the correct tendons, ligaments, and bones with just a little guidance. Although zoos and aquariums have had to close their doors throughout the world, many are streaming live webcams of their most popular attractions. Some wildlife parks are even hosting live feeds. STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and maths, so crosses many subjects. The STEM website is offering free home learning support for families and has the bonus of having Tim Peake as its ambassador. There are loads of activities, including experiments using household items, and it caters for 4 to 16-year-olds. There are also many examples of simple experiments on YouTube. Any video produced by David Attenborough is incredibly informative and appeals to most ages. And Brian Cox is brilliant for any budding physicists or astronauts. I'm also a fan of Science in Action and Scientific Eye. Horrible Histories videos are based on a series of books. They inform children of historical events, eras, and civilizations, and are stuffed full of blood, battles, and humour. My children love them. How about children speaking with their grandparents or elderly members of the community, if they can do so safely, and finding out what history means to them? You may feel that teaching geography is particularly difficult if we are stuck at home. Thanks to the internet and children's imaginations, we can travel almost anywhere. How about taking one of the virtual tours on the Wolsey Hall website to places such as Machu Picchu or the Taj Mahal, or even planning a trip for the future, be it imaginary or real? For religious studies, you could look into the different beliefs that people have globally, or you could make it more relevant, both timely and for your family, be that looking at Easter or Pentecost for Christians, or the practicing of Ramadan for Muslims. One of my favourites, food technology. Get your children to prepare lunch with you, so while they're eating and having some playtime, you can get some work done. Our afternoons are short and enjoyable. I include subjects such as music, language, art, computing, and PE, followed by a brief time of reflection. If you're fortunate enough to own a musical instrument, now is the time to practice and improve. There are many free apps, websites, and videos out there to help. Alternatively, we could all learn to sing. David Walliams has produced a podcast which introduces children to classical music. You could ask your children to create posters or a booklet on the composers that he talks of. My sons both want to learn Spanish, so I am making the most of the resources that are available to me during school closures. Rosetta Stone is particularly good, and it's offering its many languages free at the moment. Duolingo is also lots of fun. Arts can be incorporated throughout the day or timetabled for separately. Creating your home learning timetable and school rules can be the perfect place to start. There are many crafts that cover multiple subjects. Interestingly, this is where my children are able to remain engaged for a longer period, so I allow a little more time. Making model animal and plant cells out of household rubbish or recycling is a fun activity. Your child could design, plan, and create a cushion, doll, or item of clothing. This brings in not only textiles, but maths and English too. For computing, if your child has access to a PC, tablet, or phone, there are many things that us as adults can teach them, be that how to type a formal letter or use a photo editing app. If you have access to tools and materials, try to make something meaningful. For us, that was a chicken coop and run. It was a fun task for all of us, and it involved a lot of problem solving and creativity. STEM activities could also be incorporated here. If you're anxious about how to protect and nurture your children through this crisis, you're not alone. As well as limiting news consumption, a period of reflection at the end of the learning day can really help. We have 10 minutes of quiet time. This could include meditation, talking through concerns, or a faith-based activity. We have a hope jar. Every time we wish we could do something, go somewhere, treat ourselves, or see someone we love, we write it down on a post-it note and put it in the jar. When all of this is over, we'll work our way through the jar and be more grateful than ever for the little and lovely things in our lives. Until then, we will enjoy watching it fill up with all of the things that we have to look forward to. So, in summary, now is the time to inspire your children and foster a lifelong love of learning.